Hi, folks. It's Jan of the Jan Files. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. You can, if you're on YouTube, obviously, you can just hit the subscribe button. If you're on TikTok or someplace else, I usually post the link so you can find me. I'm going to talk. Today was a tough day to figure out what I wanted to say. What it finally came down to and what I'm feeling is a depth of sadness for this country that I can't even, well, I'll try, as I always do, articulate. We got here for a variety of reasons. I've talked about some of them, and will continue to do so. But one of the reasons we got here is because we allowed it. Too many of us, and honestly, I am not one of them, or one of that us, so to speak, allow people around them, family members, friends, who support Trump, they still have those relationships in place. They're like, well, I'm not going to ruin my family relationship or your friendship because of politics. This has got zero to do with fucking politics. This has to do with morals, integrity, the truth versus lies. And yet and you know who I'm talking to. If it's not you, don't worry about it, right? But you can also serve as a reminder to those of you might know people who accept this crap and sit down at dinner tables or sit down at Thanksgiving and don't talk politics. So, you're part of the problem as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not talking about somebody whose mother is 92 and, whatever. I'm talking about people who are active in your life, sometimes parents, brothers, sisters, cousins, whatever. And you allow them in your presence and you don't confront them because it's not worth it. I'm sorry, really? It's not worth it? It's not worth it to point out to them that they are just part of the reason that this country is being destroyed. It's not, at what point does it become worth it to you? What are you waiting for? For you to commiserate with them when it's all torn asunder? Really? Because here's what I say to people. First of all, one, as far as I'm concerned, anybody who supports Trump is a racist. One, I don't care if they're black or brown or whatever. They're a racist. Two, anyone who supports Trump has no problem with women being raped. And three, anyone who supports Trump is embracing an authoritarian regime. And yet you break bread with these people? That's what I want to talk about. Because I don't understand that. I've always, I have cut family members off. Thankfully not my family of origin. I mean, my mom and dad are gone. But even then, that I wouldn't have had to do that, or my brother or sister or, in-laws, etc. I'm grateful for that. I am really grateful. And I don't have friends that are MAGA or even consider some of those thoughts and opinions because I am who I am. They know who I am. I don't tolerate that in my life. And it's really time, if it's not too late, honestly, to do the same. That's what I'm going to challenge you to do. I'm going to challenge those of you who still have friends and family who you still talk to and allow them to just exist without having them to deal with what is happening. And they won't, folks. They have clearly, most of them have clearly gone into fucking la la land years ago when it comes to Trump. They like the way he talks. They like that he swears. They like that he calls people names. They like that he's a racist no matter what the fuck they say. He is clearly a racist, and he is clearly a misogynist. He is clearly an adjudicated rapist. Nothing what I'm saying is anything but the facts. And so when those people cross your threshold and you allow them to just exist in this own little world that you might create with them, whether it's familial or friends or whatever, you're part of the problem. Because we're way past that. We're not talking about Republican versus Democrat. Unfortunately, the Republicans, for the most part, have completely bent a knee to Trump. They're on their knees, and I don't see that changing. Now, but I want to go back to what I say, it's not Republican versus... This isn't politics. This is morals. And this is, who are you being friends with? Who are you talking to that you're allowing them to spew whatever they spew? Maybe not in your company, but what they're doing, right? And yet you feel like that's a bridge too far. And for those of you who have children, I'm going to say, really? Do you really have any idea of what this country can look like in 2 years, 3 years? God forbid if he lives through the 4 years. Do you have any idea what is happening? And how are you going to explain that to your children? That's what I want to know. How are you going to explain, hey, Grammy and Grandpa didn't agree, but, we love them. And no. That's not, even in the Civil War, folks, and the American Revolution, if you know your history, there were parts of families on different sides of the equation. And that's what is happening now. And either you figure out whether you're going to fight for the loyalists, or you're going to fight for the American Revolution, or you're going to fight for the South, or you're going to fight for the North. And that's the choice right now. Who are you going to fight for? And I'm not talking about picking up arms. I'm never referring to anything violent, so let me clarify that. But I'm saying you have to choose. You have to choose what side of this you are on for real. Not just complain about my mother or my sister or my brother-in-law. You now need to choose what side of this you are on. Because there is a clear divide. There is no wishy-washy, nothing. And that's what I want to challenge you, for those of you who still engage those people. I want you to think about it. Comment on my thing. We'll talk about it. Maybe other people will engage, hopefully respectfully. But you know what? No. You don't get to do that and then tell me that you're a resistor, that you are dissenting, that you are a warrior in this. And then tell me that you allow racists to cross your threshold. So I think this is pretty short, I'm hoping, because I didn't mean for it to be long. But that's my challenge. Like, which side are you on? You need to pick a side and stick with it and defend it and be a warrior for it. If not, this is a half-assed, effort on your part for real, because you know what? This is costing people. This is costing people their lives. Okay? It's costing their lives. It's costing our democracy. Is that not enough? What do you need to happen to start saying no more of this? It's a sad fucking day in America, is all I got to say. Really. Take care.